Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another TIFF 2019 interview. Right now, we have the team behind the upcoming animated feature, Abominable, here. I am so excited about this movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I was reading all the press notes, and it just seems like this is going to be a really fun adventure, but with some real heart and personal meaning behind it, and I am just so excited to dig into that. I wanted to start with you here. Second feature film as a director. Is there anything you learned on your first one that you said, like, I got to do this way on Abominable?
I think what I learned the most going on the first on my first movie, which was Open Season. This movie I got to write and direct, and so it was a little more personal. And I really think it's important to be collaborative with the studio, but also to fight for the things that are very important to the movie, that you really believe in, the things that you connect to. If you don't fight for those things, then I feel like your vision gets compromised. And so I really fought hard to keep a lot of core things in this movie, and I'm really proud of it.
At this point, you've worked with a whole bunch of the really great animated studios out there. Do you know, like, maybe something about all of them that stays consistent, something that really makes a great animated studio?
That's a great question. I think I've been very fortunate that all of the companies I've worked for strive for two things that are very important to them. Story is first. They will not let projects out until the story is just right. The other thing is quality. And I think anytime you have, there's varying degrees of quality, and sometimes that comes with a price tag. But I feel like I've been incredibly spoiled. Our film, Abominable, looks so rich, so lush, so beautiful. And that has a lot to do with the team itself and the commitment by our studio, DreamWorks and Pearl, to have the highest level of quality.
Now, for the three of you here, is it a first time voicing a character in an animated feature for all three of you?
For me, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I did a few things. I did a few little things, but I wouldn't. This is definitely like a completely different experience. Yeah.
Totally.
How so?
Working with DreamWorks is you're just working with the best of the best, and this team that made, Abominable is. It oozes just craftsmanship in every aspect of the film, and it's something I was relatively ignorant to before really working on the film. And you see how much effort and how much just artistry goes into every frame of the film, everything that you're here, everything. And obviously working with Jill was incredible because immediately we got on right away, and we just had so much in common. And it's just was like an incredible experience. It was one of the most fun I've ever had working on anything.
Is there anything about voicing a character in an animated feature that kind of surprised you? Something about the process that made you think, oh, I didn't realize that's how they did it?
Well, for me, voiceover is very different from like live action, from like filming something like a TV show or a movie normally, because you don't see anything. All you have is the script when you start the project, and when you're recording, you don't have any of the animation or like your characters or sets or anything. So you basically have to imagine everything. So that really was what surprised me.
Yeah, I think the same for me. You don't really get to do your scene with the people that are actually in the scene with you. I mean, Jill is a great actress, don't get me wrong. But it's definitely different from live action, and it's surprisingly not as easy as people say, because you have to get all this emotion by just standing in front of a microphone.
I would say it's almost harder than actual acting.
Yeah.
Everyone, the big thing is like, you could just show up in your pajamas and just show up and do work. And I'm like, if you think I'm going to go to DreamWorks Studios in their like giant, amazing campus in pajamas and work as a professional in that, I wouldn't do that. And also, it's the level of imagination and even with like logistic things, like, am I turning around? Is the character turning around at this point? How far are they from you? When do you start walking, and then does the distance change? Like, there's like technical things that that are so already inherent when you're on screen and when you're doing live action. And so it required a lot more imagination than you would expect, and it's also exhausting.
Yeah, it is.
The efforts are very difficult.
So they are called efforts.
Yes.
I feel like
Yes.
I referred to them as efforts in another interview once, and someone looked at me like I had three heads, and I'm like, oh no, did I say a weird word?
Yeah.
You know
I
what's
would call them
it's
effort.
worth saying too? It's just that these guys show up, and we're in a recording booth for hours and hours and hours, and without a set, without hair and makeup, it's just about acting. And so that's what has impressed me so much about this group, is that it requires such vulnerability to go to this place and think about yourself as this character and just disappear into the character. You have nothing else. Like, look how gorgeous these people are. None of this you can hide behind. It's all about your pure acting.
But a huge part of it was how much support you gave, at least me, and I know, I feel like I can speak for everyone here, is she's so incredible, and you have such a we're spoiled in getting to work with you because you have such a knowledge of the script, and you also have a knowledge of the fact that there's different things that you didn't think of, or like that you were like, oh, that's even better like this, or like you're so giving and thoughtful with like your ideas and time and how to kind of, because it is a very vulnerable thing, and ultimately she's just like nurtures every idea and stays she's incredible to work with.
She's super collaborative.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's great.
Do you have the ability to kind of be flexible in the booth? Because there's so many departments. This takes so many years to actually get up on the big screen. Are you able to, ad-lib or have a little fun?
You know what's fun is that I think this is a strange thing, but when you're the writer, you can throw your lines out very easily. You're not precious about them. Or sometimes I should say maybe people are overly precious about it. But I have to say, when you're creating these characters, these guys all become part of creating the character. So we don't just say, like, here's Yi, just become Yi. Chloe and Tenzing and Albert and we all would kind of workshop the lines. So we try it one way, try it another way, and then sometimes they would riff and say something really funny. I'm like, say that, do that again. And it just helped to create a stronger, more well-rounded character that really suits them.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite parts of doing voiceover and being in this film, is that we kind of got to play around with it because nothing was set in stone yet. Nothing had been like animated yet.
But that's a very rare thing that it's a very Jill thing because because it's usually really not like that, and it speaks to like the quality of the project, and it speaks to someone you have trust in every department that ultimately like the collaboration, knowing how clear your vision is and you being so grounded in your vision and confident in what you want, then that gives room. It's really when you end up working with people who are more insecure about the work and not quite sure what they want to do, that ultimately it becomes a more stifling environment. And Jill was the opposite of that. Like, this project was an incredible. We've set the bar very, very high for ourselves.
I said this earlier today because we had another wonderful ensemble that really just appreciated the work that their director did and the collaboration in that kind of environment. So I really do love hearing about stuff like that. When you're in the booth with them, acting opposite them, do you have a favorite character to perform yourself?
Oh, interesting. Good question.
You know what's funny? I never think about performing. Like, it's weird when you're bouncing off these guys. Most of the time, I'm only listening to them, and so I say the line, but I'm like almost just waiting for that one where I'm like, oh, that's it. And I'm gonna point to Tenzing with this. So Tenzing kind of hangs out, he's very cool, and he'll read through the stuff, and we'll do a read through. And then when he's on, he just looks straight at me and like says the line. He's like so intense about it, and I just love it because sometimes it even takes me off guard. You're so like in the moment. And so I think the fun part about it is I'm just so about them in that room. I want to be their support, and we're looking for perfect lines. And I also think it's the director's job to make these guys look good. You know what I mean? It's a high priority for me to make sure that I get the best performance out of them so that they shine. So
that's so rare. I just have to say that. I just think that's incredibly rare, and it's like it was such a special experience to get to work with her on that.
One of the things that really struck me reading up about the movie is one beat that said that Yi expresses herself through her violin, and I think we all have something like that, and it's really important. So for all of you, what is your violin? What's the way that you turn to express yourself when maybe you're having a difficult time with something?
I would say lucky enough, like it's acting, and it's my job, which is and it's honestly projects like this because these are the projects you would do for free. These are the experiences where you grow as someone who's creative, you grow as a person. Yi, the character in general, was something was very similar to me as a kid. And you know, I've been in LA for a decade now, and you've been in the business, and you get jaded, and you get a certain way. And this character in this movie, and working with Jill in the studio, has really been incredibly just. You just go, oh, that's the you that came here. Remember that. And that was a huge part of why this film means a lot to me. Yeah.
It's worth saying, just the collaboration with Chloe, since she is the main character. One of the things that was really special for me is that when I wrote this character, it was a character who is a headstrong teenager with their own opinions, who really drives the movie, who's a tomboy. And I grew up watching princess movies, and I had no role models that were like that. So I really wanted to create that, but Chloe had the same exact experience. And so we really bonded over that character because we just feel like that doesn't exist for kids like us. So that was a really special thing that we got to share.
How about for you two? Anything you turn to, like a hobby or something that really helps you express yourself or fills a void?
I mean, for me, it really is acting. I love acting and comedy, and yeah, it's just what I do every day, which is really great. I'm really grateful for it. So, yeah.
I would say acting as well. I also love making people laugh. I think that's my defense mechanism.
You're good at it.
I just make a joke, even if it's not the right time or the right place. It's just I just can't help myself.
Yeah. I love making people laugh too. That's one of my favorite things.
Always good to have people like that around.
Right.
Before we have to wrap up, I want to play a round of Collider Most Memorable with you guys. So I've got something like 6 or 7 topics here. First thing that comes to your mind when I say this thing.
All right, lightning round.
Your most memorable festival premiere or movie premiere in general.
I would say this one for me.
Yeah,
This
for
one.
me,
Yeah,
definitely this one.
This is definitely
Yeah.
the biggest thing. That's
Yeah.
A lighter one. What is your most memorable meal?
Meal? Oh my God! How do
Probably
I narrow
the,
every meal down?
In life. What is that one thing that sticks in your mind?
I always love a Thanksgiving. I know we're in Toronto, but I love a Thanksgiving meal. And then my favorite is like second dinner, like the warmed up. Once you like nap after you eat Thanksgiving, and then you like go back and you make a bowl of like all of the things, and then you just
Pop it
hate yourself
microwave.
even more.
I know that all too well.
Yes.
Honestly, the first thing that came to my mind was the chicken wings that I had last night for dinner.
That was the most memorable
our
meal.
hotel?
Well, that's the first. She said the first thing that came to my.
Okay, yeah,
That's the
true.
first
You
thing
know
that
what?
came to my mind.
Fair. I don't know why I judged you.
I don't know. I'm really a foodie, so I like every meal, but I don't know. I like birthday dinners, Christmas, holidays, all of that. Yeah.
Smart choices right there. Most memorable school moment.
Ooh, I in like 5th grade I wrote a musical. I just decided to do this, and then held auditions in the girls' bathroom, and ultimately cast myself as the lead. So that's what.
You were meant for this.
Sign of times to come.
Yes, yeah, shocking. I remember holding the auditions, and I was like, I think it'll be me.
Not you.
I did a school play, like a musical, when I was in 2nd grade, and I think that kind of like sparked my interest in acting. So probably that.
What was the play?
It was based on this children's book called like Flat Stanley.
I know Flat
yeah,
Stanley.
yeah.
My cousin sent me their Flat Stanley, and
Right,
I
that's a
brought
thing,
Flat
yeah.
Stanley to the Avengers Endgame premiere, and I feel like that was my greatest
Oh,
achievement
that's
as a
so
big
great.
cousin.
That kid's probably the coolest kid in school now.
I hope so.
My greatest school memory is probably my 5th grade culmination, I'd say. It's like the first graduation that I ever had. You know, you got to walk down, you got to dress up, and so I'd say that.
Can you
nice.
say a bad memory if it sticks out?
Yeah.
You can, right? I walked across the territory of those kids that hang out on the backfield and smoke.
Yeah.
And they surrounded me and they were going to totally beat me up, or worse. This is junior high. Take me to the bathroom and do a swirly, which is like stick your head in the toilet and flush it. And I was terrified. And then out of this group of mean girls, one of them said, and her name was Darla, I'll never forget it. Darla stepped out
Everyone
and
remembers the.
and she saved me, and she was like, "Come on, you guys!" And she put her arm around me and walked me back to my classroom.
Give it up for the Darlas.
Yeah, Darla.
Need more
Seriously.
Darlas.
That's like
No
something
bullying.
that you see in the movies.
She should be. I'm gonna write her into something, right?
Yes.
Let's go with most memorable rap gift.
For the series Wrap of Shield, they gave every single crew member like a full bike with the
What?
Shield logo on it. I left mine there. I'm just remembering that I left mine on set because we had the wrap anyway. But yeah. For a few of my castmates, I wrote them a letter and then cut a piece of my hair and taped it to the letter because that's really weird. and then I lost those letters, so my hair is just floating around somewhere.
I feel like you're gonna find your hair on eBay soon.
I know.
Weird.
My most memorable rap gift is probably I got to make my own action figure. On Liv and Maddie, the producers, John Beck, Ron Hart, they took us to this one place where you'd stand and then it'd take a bunch of pictures around you and it'd make a 3D figure of you, which is pretty cool.
That is so
Yes,
cool.
that's awesome.
That's a good one.
There was this one time on one of my shows where we wrapped the gifts ourselves, where we did like this like assembly because it was right around Christmas. We wrapped around Christmas, and we wrapped them up ourselves, like kind of like, you know how those like Christmas gift wrapping stations. So that was kind of cool. I guess that
Literal wrapping gift.
yeah
Nice.
yeah.
Something different.
Yeah.
All right, let's get one more in. All right, let's go with the big one. What is the most memorable scene you've ever shot? Yeah.
I have one.
Okay.
The most memorable scene in this movie that we shot is one that takes place in the bamboo grove, and it takes place between Chloe's character Yi and Tenzing's character Jin, and she is talking about how much the violin means to her and that it's her dad's, and we rewrote the scene quite a few times, but we went into the studio and usually record quite a few sequences at a time. And we did this one sequence probably 23 times and workshopped it where we again, like, kind of changed the lines, twist the lines. And Yi's telling this beautiful story about her dad. And finally, in the end, after like 23 times, I said, Chloe, just throw the paper away. Just tell the story like you tell it. And she stammered a little with her words, and she kind of stuttered, and you could feel the character and Chloe really feeling that she had tears in her eyes. I had tears in my eyes, and it is an amazing sequence to look for.
Yeah, that one was amazing to shoot. It was also the only one where we worked together, but that was a really awesome.
That was an awesome moment,
scene.
yeah.
That would definitely.
I remember seeing that one. That one turned out really good. I
was
saw
a
you
real-
guys record that one. Yeah.
It was so vulnerable, both of them. And again, like as a director, I feel so privileged that they are willing to go there with me. I mean, we're not there alone. There's a booth full of people in the back too. And sometimes it's hard to just let yourself go into a bubble and let yourself really feel the emotions honestly. Like in
That scene and how we shot that was actually pretty emblematic of the kind of the theme of the movie, in that it's all about not being perfect and kind of figuring that out and being okay with that, and ultimately finding home. And home is being happy and learning about yourself, and kind of you see Yi go through this journey to find herself a little bit and find her relationship with her family. And you know, as a teenager, it's not about having the perfect answer to why you feel this way. It's about I don't know why I feel that way. You know, that's a big, I think, relatable thing for a lot of young women, young boys. And so getting to just kind of experience the organic nature of that and like see it with the film, it really worked. Yeah.
Do you want to add a most memorable scene?
Well, when I was 9, I filmed. I was on a show, and one of the episodes was based on my character's birthday, and so there was this like huge like Aladdin, like it was Aladdin themed, and like we had all these costumes, and we did this like big dance number. So I think that was one of my most memorable
You
scenes.
show us.
It's actually. Well, actually, that's really funny. The rehearsal is online. It's like on YouTube. Someone put it on YouTube.
You can plug it here.
Also.
in the car
Link below.
Now we know what I'm watching after
Yeah.
this.
I'd have to agree with Jill and Chloe. That sequence in the bamboo forest is probably the most memorable scene that I did in this movie, maybe in my whole acting career, I guess. It was really cool to watch Chloe do what she did, and Jill allowed us to go off the script. She gave us like the rough outline of what the scene was supposed to be. and then we just went from there, and I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
It's a really nice answer, and I got distracted because a dog walked by wearing knee-high socks. Did anyone see that? That was crazy.
Now I want to find
Are
that.
you sure?
Yes. It was like colorful knee-high socks. Anyway, that has nothing.
You also reminded me how disappointed I am in myself that I didn't bring up dogs during this interview because I
know,
read
right?
that dogs were a big influence, but I just got the rap sign and I could talk about dogs all day
Right,
long.
we
all
So
love dogs.
I am going to say a huge thank you for your
Thank you
time
so
today.
much.
I'm so excited for the movie Abominable in theaters September 27th. Before we say goodbye, we have to say a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsor who makes all of these interviews at TIFF 2019 happen. It's Nordstrom Canada. A huge thanks to you and to everybody out there for watching this interview. Please do not leave without liking and sharing, and we're going to see you soon with more coverage from Toronto International Film Festival 2019.